Hi, I'm Bryce, and I'm an autism advocate and speaker, and at the age of 9 I was diagnosed with autism. Before I was diagnosed, I seemed to be a fairly typical kid who just loved life. However, that changed when I reached primary school. For the first 2 years, I mostly sat in class with occasional bit of pencil sharpening. I couldn't even read until grade 2, and though the constant bullying and lack of understanding wasn't bad enough, it got worse after my diagnosis. When I was diagnosed with autism, my primary school started to treat me differently, as though they suddenly knew how to fix me. I was put into special classes that seemed like a waste of the teacher's time, so I either already knew how to do something, or I just found it boring and pointless, like reading a phone book. Life didn't get much better when I reached high school, as I saw my diagnosis as a bad thing that I should be ashamed of. This was also the year I found out just how far I was behind all my peers. My first semester reports showed that I was 2 years behind in math alone, and I needed immediate help. I began to doubt that I could ever reach year 12, let alone finish it. That is where my wonderful mother stepped in to help. After school, each night throughout year 7, she taught me a total of 3 years worth of math, just so I could be at the same level as everyone else. After year 7, and with the support of my mother, everything began to improve. I was no longer being bullied, and I was coping better with the schoolwork. However, I continued to hide my diagnosis for another 3 years, afraid of what people would think. 2016 ended up being a big year for me, as that is when I began to be an advocate for autism acceptance. On April 10, 2016, I wrote my first blog post, which revealed my diagnosis to my friends and peers. My announcement didn't change my life as drastically as I predicted, except that I no longer had to hide my true self. My high school had already made accommodations for my unique learning styles, way before they were aware of my diagnosis, and continued to treat me as an equal, proving that inclusive education does indeed exist. High school was the best 6 years of my life, and will always hold some special memories for me, as high school is where I found my identity and my voice. I believe the main change schools should make to support students on the spectrum is to educate staff members about what autism is, and how diverse the spectrum is, as if you met one person on the autism spectrum, you have only met one person on the autism spectrum. Schools also need to start listening to parents and students as to how to better support them, as they are the experts on how they learn best. Lastly, schools should educate students on what autism is, and how awesome it can be to be on the spectrum, as we are probably the closest living being to a superhero as you are ever going to meet. Thank you.